Hey y'all, welcome to this channel. Let's get into what's going viral on TikTok. So a TikTok creator by the name Tina Bean has took to her TikTok to make a story time about the problems she was having while planning a girls trip with a bunch of people. The main reason she took to TikTok to tell this story was to see if she was wrong for what she was asking of a person who planned to go on the trip but decided not to go on the trip after a payment was already made. Here's her story time.
When I tell y'all, I will never take a girls trip with anybody who does not have funds. Let me tell you guys a quick story time. So I would like to preface this by saying the trip has not yet happened. However, this is a conversation I had to have with somebody today. So boom, we're in Nigeria for December. I thought it was going to be like Diddy December. It was not. We were in the villages, okay? So it just wasn't as relaxing of a trip as I wanted. So I hit up a bunch of my homegirls. I'm like, let's go to Aspen. Let's do a girls trip. I'll fly out my homeboy who's a videographer. He'll do our footage. Like, it'll be a good fucking time. Everyone was generally in consensus. Cool. So I told them, they hit up their friends. So now we got a good group chat going of like, hey, like, where do we want to stay? What do we want to do? And we all kind of came to the conclusion that like, this is kind of like a relaxing time. Like, there's no real plans. If you want to go ahead and snowmobile, snowboard, ski, everyone can just kind of do whatever they want to do. There's no pressure to do any sports. We are not Olympians. We are not training for the end of the fucking world doomsday, bitch. We are just here to relax and have a good time. Cool. One of the friends, the friend of my friend, texts me separately and says, hey girl, do you know the total expenses? Because her birthday's coming up. I want to make sure that I can afford both. Fucking understandable. I'm here with you, sister. We're here together. So I messaged her back and I'm like, the rental car shouldn't be more than 50 a person. Other than that, like we're deciding the Airbnbs in the group chat. You know what I'm saying? Let me find something within everyone's budget. I am extremely vocal in this group chat. Extremely. I'm sending Airbnbs. I'm sending verbos. I'm sending fucking everything. How do y'all like this one? How do y'all like this one? What about this? How's the rate looking? This is how much it would be per person after taxes. Yeah. Everyone is responsive, except her. I'm assuming you're not saying shit. You're sitting here in agreement. Because if you have an issue, raise your hand. My friend was like, I don't have enough money to be doing, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. If y'all want to go skiing for 300, snowboarding for 300, another day this for 300, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not paying for that. Respectfully, me either, bitch. And I'm glad you said something because now we're all on the same page as to what it is that we're trying to do. So I finally send one, yada, yada, yada. It's 500 a person. Is this cool with y'all before I book it? Everyone says yes. She doesn't say anything. Silence is agreement in my mind because if you have a problem with it, before I book it, you should what? Say that. She said nothing. So go ahead, book it. When you book it, it makes you put down the motherfucking funds, at least 1,500. Put it down, screenshot it, put it in the group chat. Hey, whenever y'all need to reimburse me, just let me know. I've already paid for it. I'm paying the other half on this date, which is when it's due. Let me know. This was booked on the 26th of January. On the 29th, she messages me and says, hey, girl, I should honestly read the text verbatim, but she basically was just like, hey, girl, like, I don't think that my finances will permit me to go, yada, 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 but also I don't want to inconvenience everyone else by putting my portion on them. And so I messaged her back and I said, ultimately, it's, if it will be an extra $105 per person if you don't go. But it's your decision. I don't know your finances. I don't know anything that you have going on in life. Like, I can't tell you what the fuck to do. I'm not going to tell you to neglect your bills or whatever responsibilities you have to be in this position to just come and fucking lounge around in Aspen. Like, respectfully, no. So she's like, okay, I'll let you know tomorrow. Doesn't message me the next day. So I hit her up the following day and was like, hey, girl, like, what did you decide? Hey, turns out I'm not going to go. I can't really afford it. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. And so I says, okay, because at this point, I'm going to message the group chat. Everyone try to find somebody else to cover this other girl's portion, unless y'all want to pay more money. So we search and we scour the motherfucking earth. We can't find nobody. So today, right, I hit sister up. I'm like, hey, do you mind paying half of your portion? I didn't even say the full portion. I said, do you mind paying half the portion, which is $262 due to the, the last minute cancellation. You did it, yada, yada, yada. I understand that you can't come, but like, at this point, like the other girls just kind of don't feel comfortable paying that extra amount because it's just something that they didn't allot for. And it's cutting into their expenses and everyone was on the same page in agreement prior to this being booked. She says no. She says, how much is half? Girl, 262. You scroll up, you see it's 262. She's like, well, no, because I didn't realize that there was a cancellation and you were trying to find somebody else and yada, yada, yada. Every Airbnb, every Verbo, you put money down and if you cancel it, you get a portion of it back. That $1,500 I put up front was non-refundable. That was going to get taken. So even if you did say, you know what, we're going to cancel this and get a different Airbnb, that $1,500 would have been ate up regardless. So no, that doesn't make sense. I'm asking you to pay $260 when in reality you owe us $540. I'm not understanding. And she's like, why cancel before? You didn't cancel before. You canceled after the fact. And we sat in that group chat and we asked you time and time again, do you want to go? Is this okay? Does anybody have anything to say about the rates? And nobody said anything. You didn't say no, which means that you're in agreement, yes, of those fucking rates. So now, regardless if you can't go on the trip or whatever the fuck else it is, you are still responsible of your portion, regardless if you're going or not. There's more to the story, but basically the girl just like, well, I don't got it. Which in my mind, if you don't have 262, you should have never been even thinking about going on that trip to begin with because you quite literally can't fucking afford it. If you can't afford $262, if you can't afford that, you were never gonna be able to afford the trip and you fucking knew it. Am I the asshole? Like, am I the fucking asshole for even asking her for money? I don't think I am.
After the video started to go viral, people had a bunch of questions and had a bunch of criticism for her. So she decided to clear up a couple things in a series of videos.
So let me clarify this because I'm just gonna use this comment. So rewind. She wasn't silent in the group chat. She was silent when I said, does anybody object to this Airbnb? And nobody objected. That's why I'm saying silence. Prior to even booking the Airbnb, that's when she reached out and said, hey, Can you let me know the totals? I am going on this trip with you guys. I do want to go. I just want to know the totals of everything to make sure my finances are right for the trip. She confirmed she was going, which is why she was in the group chat to begin with. She wanted to know the total so she could know how much money she needs to allot. I said, okay, let me figure out the Airbnb situation. That's when we started posting in there about the Airbnbs, yada, 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 yada. I said, does anybody have any objections? Silence. If you didn't go, couldn't go, if it was too expensive, you could have said that in the group chat like the other girls did with the other houses that they either couldn't afford, didn't like, whatever. I never heard not one single objection about where we were staying, the price, nothing. And I asked multiple times. I said, okay, booked. 4 days later, then, hey, girl, she still didn't say she wasn't going. She said, hey, I'm thinking about going, but I just want to make sure I have my finances right, yada, yada, yada. I don't know, I'm on the fence. I kind of want to go, but then also at the same time, if I don't go, I don't want to change the rate of the other girls' rooms. In my mind, if you say, hey, I don't know if I'm going to go, but I also don't want to change the rate. In my mind, that means you don't want to go, but you're probably going to pay because you don't want to change the rate for everyone else. I said, hey, the decision is yours, but it would be an extra $105 per person if you chose not to go. So yes, it would change the rate. So, either you want to pay for it or you don't want to pay for it. But if you don't want it to change the rate, you would just naturally pay for it, right? Because 2 + 2 is 4, it's not 10. There's no way for you to not go on a trip, yet still not affect the rate of somebody else's room without you paying for it. So yeah, that was basically the confusion. So in the comments of what it seems. And for all y'all saying y'all should have just reached out to her separate, she's a grown woman. She already reached out to me twice in regards to her financial situation, right? First time saying, hey, I want to go, but I just need to know how much everything is. Okay, cool. So I'll let you know. I texted you in the group chat every fucking day. You guys had exactly how much things were. I asked if anybody objected. Say something. You didn't say anything, which means you don't object. So I don't even know what else to say. If you could not afford it, you could be like, actually, I'm just not going to go on this trip. Hey, this isn't a mandatory trip. I've decided I'm not going to go. And that would have been fine. Other girls dropped out. No problem. I'm not going to go the extra mile. Hey, girl, you didn't say you didn't object to any of the prices, but I just wanted to make sure we're adults. We're all past 25 years of age. Some of us are in our fucking 30s. It doesn't make sense, and I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to use this comment here to wrap everything up because I feel like some of y'all are missing the plot, and not specifically this comment, but kind of sort of about like me taking an L or like, oh, people just don't have money. The money was never an issue. I paid in full for that Airbnb up front, mind you. Everybody reimburse me when you can. Someone's like, post the screenshots. The goal is not to embarrass this girl or to whatever or to shame her. That wasn't the fucking issue. The question I was asking was, am I the asshole for asking for her to pay not even her whole portion, which was $5 something, to pay half of her portion because she backed out last minute when she already confirmed with us she was going on the trip? The only question that she had was, how much will it be in total with everything, so I can get my finances together so I can know what to bring, so I can make sure I can afford this trip and the other trip. That was the question. Y'all are commenting, talking about y'all just need to eat that 105. Maybe that 105 was already eaten by me. Understand that. The other questions are about the videographer, the photographer. Yes, I am paying for that man. He's buying his own flight. He gets there. I am paying for his portion of the Airbnb. I am paying for his excursions. I am paying for his food, his lodging, his alcohol. I am taking care of his trip off me. Money wasn't the issue. The issue was the principle that she confirmed that she was going to go. She then did not object to the price or the Airbnb or the rates. She saw it confirmed, and then days later, message saying she was not going to go. But not only was she not going to go, I don't want to raise the rate for everyone else, though. If I don't go, that means you're going to still pay for something. And then to be like, well, why would you even ask me for that? Because you said you didn't want the rate to change for anyone. Like, what are you talking about? As far as everyone needing to just eat the 105, everybody just needs to eat it. I'm not asking any of my friends for money. That wasn't the goal. It's not that my friends don't have the money. I personally think it's bad form if I'm paying for an Airbnb and somebody else backs out. Hey guys, everyone, like, give me $100. Bitches aren't pressed and stressed like that for a fucking $100. I'm gonna eat it. I will be paying $1,500 for this Airbnb on my own. Yes, I will. Because that's just how I am. That wasn't the issue. The question was, am I the asshole? Follow the fuck along, please.
Wait, I know I said that was the last video, but this is actually the last one because this is the last comment that I've seen, which is, if she backed out, why are you even asking? Other than the fact that it's the principal, the main reason why I asked is because out of her mouth, right? The day that she was like, 4 days later, when she said, I don't know if I want to go, but I do not want myself backing out to affect the rate of the other girls. She said, I don't want me backing out to affect the rate of the other girls. That, in my mind, means, right, that you're going to put something down to where it doesn't affect the rate of the other girls. I let her know, your portion is 5 something. If we split that up, it's about an extra $100, 100, 105 per person that it would change. I'm letting her know how much it would change the rate by. Because she offered, right? So her then saying, why are you asking me? You guys saying, why are you even asking her? I'm asking her because she already previously said, even if I do back out, I don't want me backing out to change the rate of the other girls, insinuating she's giving something. Are we all, like, I feel like this is like, if y'all still don't get that, I don't know what else to say. It wasn't about, oh, we don't have an extra $100. That's not why we asked. That's not why I asked. I asked because she had previously said, which I stated in the other videos, every single one, right? If I back out of this trip, I don't want me backing out to change the rates of the other girls' room and board. I don't think that people are piecing that together with why I asked her. Hopefully it now makes sense. Other than the fact that it was the principal, she already previously, like, practically offered, which is why I even asked. I asked, am I the asshole? Because when I asked her, hey girl, do you mind putting that down? She got almost like offended, like, what do you mean? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Because you already offered. Are you guys following?
First of all, the person who's telling this story, I want to hold you. I don't like her because she is a mean girl. She always got something ignorant to say about somebody.
Hey girl. Hey, you don't like me, and guess what? Nobody likes you. Nobody fucking likes you. And since we're talking about what people don't like, right? I don't like someone who's fucking loud and wrong. Always. And since you want me to be a bully so fucking bad, I will show you one. Because I also don't like being called a liar. First and foremost, you brought up Jai Nice. I said Jai Nice didn't like her body, so she hates her body, which she did. That's why she got it done. Next, you're talking about the fucking trip. Every single detail that you gave about this experience was inaccurate and incorrect. Meaning you didn't watch the videos, meaning you lack listening comprehension skills. She doing this to her friend? That was never my friend. I told you I did not know that girl. I told you she was a friend of a friend. Flag number 1. Flag number 2, she never confirmed. Who said she didn't confirm? Who didn't confirm? Not only that, I actually posted receipts that she confirmed. Before the receipts, I literally told y'all she confirmed in the main video. Silence, meaning silence of, is anybody objecting to this Airbnb? Yeah. A mean girl, a bully, a mean girl, a bully, taking it to social media. Plot twist, they already knew I was taking it to social media because I told them. Yeah. Cloud is you. Cloud is you commenting on every fucking thing that's happening in this goddamn world and still getting no views. Cloud is you trying to make a false narrative out of a situation because that's what you read under comments. So since cloud and followers is what you want, I'm going to try to help you with that. I'm going to tag you in this video. And the people that support your ignorance will follow you. Yeah. Since that's what you were looking for. Next time, shh. The same way the girl was, it's okay to be silent if you don't know. Same thing, sweetheart. It's okay to shh. Because now you just look stupid. Now you just look unknowledgeable. You look ignorant. You look foolish. You look a mess. And since engagement is what you wanted, since acknowledgement is what you wanted, sweetheart, I'm going to give you that. Feel special. This is probably as special as you'll feel in a long time. Respectfully. It seems to me that a lot of you guys are confused, which is why you're asking for receipts. So I'm here to do that, in fact, and post them for you. So I'm going to tag the 2 creators that I saw post about it who seemed like they were trying to understand the situation better. Mind you guys, I'm not mad at the girl. I'm not saying the girl's a bad person. I'm not saying she's a broke bitch. I'm not saying any of that. You guys are adding context to something that was just never there. I just asked if I was the asshole for asking for half of her portion for her late cancellation, and because she on numerous occasions said, I don't want me backing out to affect the rate of the group, after she already confirmed she was going, after she confirmed she had the funds for the Airbnb, okay? This has nothing to do with her being a bad person. You guys are adding so much extra smoke to something that there's not even a fire for. So receipt number 1. So boom, receipt number 1. This is just basically the group chat. People are talking about making things more affordable because they don't want to be skiing and snowboarding and doing all these things and they don't know how to do them. Like, they don't want to pay all that money to do shit they don't know how to do. So general consensus here is like, snowmobile is a vibe. Let's go tubing. Maybe we'll try skiing if we want to, but like, it's not mandatory. So boom, receipt number 2. This is the first time she reached out after she already confirmed she was going, was added to the group chat. She said she was going. Hey girl, I'm going on my flight out of Aspen, just trying to figure out, engage the price, everything else. She plans to going, for our homegirl's birthday. So she just wants to make sure she's properly planning her finances. I said, yes, I'm sending listings right now because I don't want it to be too expensive for anyone. I even say, let me know what you think. And worst case, we can always do hotels. Why? Because this was a last minute trip, y'all. This trip, I literally came back from Nigeria on the 8th. I said, let's go to Aspen in February. Tickets were $177 round trip, sister. Let's go. So it was already a last minute trip, right? So 7 days after I said this trip is happening, she confirmed she's going. She's sending that she's being proactive. Hey, I'm good on my flight. I can afford my flight. Let me just figure out everything else, which is why I get into planning the hotels so quickly, Airbnb. Let me go ahead and post in the group chat, see what everybody thinks so we can come into a general consensus. Mind you, she never responds. So on the 31st, mind you, the Airbnb was booked on the 26th. 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. I lied, y'all. That was 6 days later. She never reaches out. Everyone at this point is like, hey, I messaged in the group chat. Everyone let me know when y'all sending y'all funds. She never responded to when she was sending her funds, which is why I then reached out to her on the 31st. And I said, hey, girl, are you still coming on the trip? She says, hey, girl, my money's looking a little tight, but I also don't want it to affect the cost of the Airbnb for the group. Mind you, she still didn't say she wasn't going. So I said, tight as in you don't think you'll make the trip, or tight as in you don't want to do excursions. Tight as in by the time I covered everything, I'd be hurting. I'm good on my flight, and I'd be able to cover the cost of the cabin. But I don't think I'd have a lot of wiggle room for the other necessary, for the other things necessary. And I definitely would want to participate in excursions if she goes. So mind you, sister knew the cost of the cabin, agreed to it. Knew the cost of the flights, agreed to it. Said she was going on the trip. The only reason that I even knew she wasn't going is because I reached out when everyone else was saying, hey, I'll send my money on this day, and I didn't hear from her. So I reached out on the 31st, which is actually 6 days later, and said, like, are you good? And then even when I reached out at that point, she still never said, I'm not going, because I asked her specifically. She just said her money was tight. So now I'm thinking, oh, damn, she might not go. And I wouldn't even have asked her for them funds if she didn't say, I don't want it to affect the cost of the other girls. Mind you, I'm paying for me and the videographer and now part of her portion. So if you don't want it to affect the cost, I'm going to eat, 3/6 of the cost. Just pay the other 3/6 for the other girls. That would be contributing to me. That's what I would assume. She didn't want to do it. That's fine. Trip's already paid for it. I'm still eating the cost of that. I don't give a fuck. It's not about the funds. I didn't even ask the girl for $100 because $100 funky ass dollars, bitch. Like, who gives a fuck? But I'm saying, am I wrong to ask her for that given what she said? That's the question.
Tina's video has almost 1 million views and is all over TikTok. So of course, Deja, the person she's talking about, decided to make a TikTok to clear her name and tell her side of the story. Here's her videos.
When I tell y'all, I will never take a girls trip with anybody who does not have...
Hey y'all, so I'm the girl in question that she's talking about in this video. I know y'all live for the drama, live for the mess, so I'm just going to tell the full story here. I did not want to bring this to social media originally, and this was not a discussion we had beforehand. But for me to wake up and see that my information is put for millions of people to see, I'm not looking for people to choose sides. If we're going to tell the story, let's put the whole thing out there. If we're going to lie, let's have full receipts, okay? Let's tell the full story. Also, just a disclaimer, in general, I'm a kind-hearted person. I do not like making nasty remarks. Throughout this whole time, this whole conversation, I'm sitting here trying to be transparent with her. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to communicate. And this is what I get in return. So again, if we want to add fuel to the fire, let's tell the whole story. First and foremost, Tina, the girl in question, the one whose video I'm stitching, is someone that I met in Jamaica. I met her recently in Jamaica for a friend's wedding in September. She and I have no previous relationship, no previous friendship. I truly can't even call her a friend outside of that, and definitely not after this. Also, just a heads up, this story is kind of long, and I want to make sure I'm telling the full story. I'm adding all context, I'm adding all receipts, so I will be making a couple of parts just to make sure we're getting the full story. And once everything's out there, there's nothing else to add or take away because this is the full story. This is it. So that being said, I met her in Jamaica. I as well met a friend for who the context of the story I will call Maya. Maya and I have kind of kept in touch since September. Haven't heard from Tina, but she was cool people. She was fun to hang with, like, good time. Maya reaches out to me and says, hey, Deja, would you like to come on a trip to Aspen? These are the dates. No prices discussed, nothing in terms of an itinerary. It is just, would you like to come? Sure. I work in travel, so I don't have to worry about flight expenses. So automatically in my head, I'm thinking, oh, okay, a trip to Aspen sounds fun, girl trip. That's about as much context as I have. So initially I say yes, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll have a conversation about expenses eventually. So at this point, I still have not spoken to Tina. I am just thrown into a group chat. There are 7 people total in this group chat. In this group chat, the initial conversation, I was added on January 11th. The initial conversation was nothing but people sharing their names and their social media. There is no talk about plans in Aspen originally, nothing about where we're staying, no itinerary, just, oh, we should add each other to a chat. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to get cute. I think the initial plan was to go out and take pictures, but mind you, I was thrown into the chat at a later time. So I think Tina originally made the plan with her friends, and I'm just thrown in, so I don't have the full context of what this trip is supposed to be to begin with. Okay, so starting here, I will be adding receipts, adding context. So this is the date that I'm added, January 11th. Obviously, based off of this, there was previous conversation, but this is where I enter the conversation. They're talking about a ride. Maya adds me and says, I'm coming. This is the message that I sent. Mind you, throughout this entire time, throughout this entire conversation, I've sent maybe 3 or 4 messages, whereas Tina made it seem like I am just responding the entire time and then suddenly go ghost. Once again, adding our social media, introducing ourselves, no talk about prices, just where are we staying, Airbnb. Again, no prices are discussed. This is just people chatting, people talking. Scroll down a little bit. Again, people aren't listing prices. No Airbnbs have been sent at this point. It is just discussion of what could possibly happen out in Aspen. Okay, we're cracking jokes, yada, yada, yada. Tubing sounds like a blast. This is my last message other than like one heart. That's it. That was the full, this is my contribution to the conversation that she swears up and down. She was responsive the whole time. She agreed to come on this trip. That's the last message I sent. And again, I'll be adding receipts. I'll be adding proof. On the 13th, she starts sending places. This is where stuff starts getting lost in translation. She says everybody was in agreement. Everybody said yes. She's just sending places and people are either not responding or maybe putting a thumbs up. Again, I will add it in just a moment. But keep in mind, there are 7 people in this chat. No one is saying yes. No one's saying no. No one's verbalizing anything. It is just a couple of thumbs up. Okay, so fast forward a bit. Again, January 13th. Mind you, this is January 11th, I was added to the chat and asked if I wanted to come to Aspen. The trip is supposed to be February 25th through 28th, 29th, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So this is where stuff starts getting interesting. It is now January 17th. Tina's posting Airbnbs. Room is 406. One heart. This is what she's claiming everyone agreed to. Someone says works for me. Works for me. One person out of 7. I haven't said anything. She continues to send us a few places. And this is the major part she leaves out. The Airbnbs that she's sending initially were $400. Mind you, on the 17th, that same day, I actually messaged Tina myself, reaching out to her and concerns about the price. So let me rewind a little bit and show you that. Let me rewind just a little bit because I want to make sure I'm adding full context. So as I previously stated, January 13th is when she first starts listing Airbnbs. No one's saying yes, no one's saying no. There might be a heart, there might be a thumbs up, but there's no verbal confirmation from anyone. The 17th is when she starts sending additional Airbnbs and she starts talking about prices. I message her on the side and I say, hey girl, I'm trying to gauge the price of everything because I'm not sure about my financial budgeting. I'm about to add this, but I messaged her on the side before anything was booked on January 17th. Once again, here's proof, here's receipts. Hey girl, I'm good on my flight out to Aspen. Let me add some context here as well. I'm good for the flight because I work and travel. I travel for work, meaning that I don't have to pay for the flight. And I'm pretty sure I said that in the beginning, but I want to make it clear again that it wasn't just that I booked a flight and bailed out last minute or that I 100% agreed. I showed y'all I was thrown into a chat. People are just now discussing prices. There's no clear itinerary. And I make it clear from the beginning. Hey, I'm just trying to gauge the price. I also have another friend's birthday coming up and I'm trying to properly plan my finances. This is her response. Yes, just sent listings. Saying I don't want it to be too expensive. You can read the rest. Okay. So again, I will be getting back to that, but I just wanted to show that that was a conversation. I reached out to her beforehand. This was the 17th. She says, after this, is this okay? She gets 2 thumbs up and she says, okay, everybody pay $400 and I will pay the rest. She conveniently left this out in her video. $400 is not $525. Those aren't the same 2 numbers. And I will be adding that here. Okay, once again, these are original Airbnb she's posting. 405 a person, heart your fave. I put a heart on one of them. I think you can see it on one of the other pictures, but that's it. So all I've said so far is my name, my social media, snowboarding sounds great. There's no blue messages in any of this. And no one's saying anything either. A heart? This is not an agreement. So no one's saying anything, but you said $400. If everyone does $400, I'll pay the rest. If everyone does $400, I will pay the rest. If everyone does $400, I will pay the rest. And the reason I'm emphasizing this is because she's trying to make it sound like people are broke. She's trying to make it sound like communication wasn't had. And she's trying to make it sound like everyone gave a consensus where you all could clearly see there was no yes, there was no. It was maybe a thumbs up or a heart. But at this point, 400 is something I'm willing to do. So after this, someone starts mentioning a jacuzzi. Some people are like, oh, if we're going to do Aspen, let's do Aspen. Tina sends a new place with a listing and says the total will be $28.33 with fees. With fees means you included taxes. That's how I understand with fees. At the time, there are 7 people in the chat. $28.33 with fees, as she claimed, divided by 7 is about $400. $409 to be exact, I believe. $409. Again, for context. $28.33 with fees included. 2 hearts. That's so nice. No one said, yes, let's pick it, let's go with it. She doesn't discuss price beforehand. Y'all tell me why the next day she sends a screenshot talking about, it's been booked. Everyone owes $525. Send your funds. What? So you went from everybody pay $400, I'll cover the rest to it's now $525. I will add the receipt. One person says that's so nice. One person says love it. Nothing for me. This is a receipt. These prices aren't matching up with the $28.66. Booked. Total in person, $525. No discussion beforehand. Part 2 coming up. Alrighty, folks. This is part 2. Again, just wanting to give full context of the conversation. I am the person, the infamous girl that she's talking about in this video for the girls trip. Again, part 1 gives full context of how I was added into the chat, what my relationship to this girl is, and what our conversation and my contribution to this conversation has been to this point. Okay, so mind you, she doesn't get confirmation from anyone. She just books and posts a receipt and says everyone owes $525. So again, this is a close-up of the receipt that's in that previous video where she told us everyone pay $400, I'll cover the rest. Then the next day, apparently we had a new Airbnb where she said fees were included. And now we're at this same place where fees were included. Not sure where she got the numbers from, but this is now the new total. And she says everyone owes $525 each. This is the rest of the conversation, booked. No one says anything. When will everyone be sending their funds? One person says Friday's payday. Is that okay? I was going to send half now. There's 7 people in this chat and only 2 people are responding. And I'm removed not too long after this. So like, she's trying to make it seem like I said, yes, that's fine. I said, yes, that's okay. That didn't come out of my mouth and no one else here is saying that's fine. Okay, so at this point, I take full accountability and I'll say I dropped the ball here. As I previously mentioned, I did reach out to her on January 17th, saying I was concerned about the price. However, I should have made it more clear, but again, as shown in the messages, she said 400, then all of a sudden we were at 525, and it was never discussed beforehand. So at this point, the place is already booked. So I'm trying to figure out my finances. I'm trying to sit here and wonder how to go about this because it's already been booked, it's already on her card, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And again, maybe I should have advocated and spoken for myself more, but I was just between a rock and a hard place because this place is already booked. It's on her card. Like, there was no conversation about whether I was okay with the price beforehand. So on January 31st, Tina reaches out to me again asking if I'll be going on the trip, and I'll be adding this here. Okay, so January 31st, mind you, I reached out to her on the 17th asking to gauge the price. She never discusses price with me before booking. On the 31st, she says, hey girl, were you still coming on the trip? I respond, hey, my money's looking a little tight. I also don't want to affect the cost of the group for the Airbnb. So I'm just being honest. I never said yes or no. I'm just telling her like, hey, you know, my money's looking tight. Like, we still have not set a clear itinerary and you're already talking about $500 for like 3 nights in Denver. She says, tight as in you don't think you'll make the trip, or tight as in you don't want to do excursions. LOL, it's lighthearted. I say tight as in by the time I covered everything, I'd be hurting. I'm good on my flight because, mind you, again, I work and travel. I don't pay for my flight. So she's trying to make it sound like, again, I booked a flight and then I bailed out last minute. That's not what happened. I said I'm good for the flight because, again, it's covered by my job. I'd be able to cover the cabin because, again, I have money for it, but I'm thinking it's going to be 400 and an extra 125 can go towards clothes, towards food, something, right? Like, there's not a clear budget that's been set anywhere. So I say I have the money for the cabin, but I won't have a lot of wiggle room to cover other things necessary. Meaning that if I have to come, if I have to make it work, I can, but I won't be able to do anything else. I am being transparent. I'm not telling her screw you. I'm not saying screw this trip. I'm not communicating with her because I told her to begin with money was a concern. At this point, it's already booked, and I'm trying to work with her. This is my fault, and I shouldn't have done that. But again, I'm just being honest and transparent. It's all right here. Lighthearted. Okay, no worries. The choice is definitely yours. I know as far as food goes, we'll probably be making food. I think everyone's going to do one excursion. Definitely put you first, but let me know whatever you decide. The choice is definitely yours, friend. Definitely put you first. Let me know what you decide. So at this point, I asked to talk to her the next day. I say, okay, I don't want to throw y'all off a bunch in terms of price. I think I asked her if this would affect the rest of the group, and I want to get back to her tomorrow. Okay, here goes again. Okay, would that throw y'all off a bunch in terms of price? I don't want to affect the group. I'm being mindful of the people that are in this chat. It'll be an extra 105 per person. I said, can I let you know for sure tomorrow? Of course. So this is the problem. She lied on me and said I never got back to her. I reached out to her the next day. It's blue. Hey, I did my financial planning for the month and it's looking like Aspen isn't going to be in the budget for me. I reached out the next day, not her. Oh no, okay. I'm going to try to save my money up for the girl's birthday. Hopefully I can see you there. There's no mentions of a late fee. There's no mentions of finding a replacement. Nothing. She says, put yourself first, girl. I get it. So this is the thing. This was on January 31st. Put yourself first, girl. Don't worry about it. Put yourself first. I understand people got to pay for their own stuff. She even said it in her video. But now you're twisting the story and saying I never got back to you where I just showed y'all proof that I did. 1. And 2, you said put yourself first. So for you to try to come on here and make my character seem like it's something different than what it is just ridiculous. I'm being very mindful of everyone. I'm thinking about them when honestly, I could have just been like, I ain't got it, girl, and peace out. But that's not how I went about it. I'm very transparent in all of this. So again, she says, you're good, girl. So I start putting my money elsewhere. I start budgeting wherever else I need to. That's just the whole thing. So 2 weeks later, this previous Sunday, she texts me talking about, hey girl, would you mind sending half for your last minute pullout? Pardon me? Sunday, 2 weeks later after you told me, do you, girl? It's fine. Hey, do you mind paying half of the Airbnb due to last minute cancellation? We weren't able to find someone to replace your spot. Replace what spot? You just told me it was fine. What would be considered half? Because I'm thinking surely she's not asking for half of something she said was fine. Would there be any alternatives? I reached out to you before the Airbnb was booked to express my concern about the price. And then again, once I realized I wouldn't be able to afford it, I double checked with you ahead of time that it wouldn't affect the overall trip and the overall group. And there was no mention of me having to pay a cancellation fee or having to find a replacement. So I don't see fit for me having to pay half. I am sitting here having this whole conversation with her. Half would be $262. I believe that I said it'd be an extra 105 a person, yada, yada, yada. I can let everyone know that they would just have to pay the extra amount. The room was booked on the 26th. Give me a second to respond. I'm on this flight. So she knows my occupation, mind you. I finally got a free moment, and I'll show you that message in just a moment. But throughout all of this, I'm just wondering, like, what audacity to come back to someone 2 weeks later to ask them for some money for a trip that they're not going on. And the fact that you booked it means you had the money, so you're not hurting for that $262. So why are you harassing me about it and calling me broke? I don't get it, but everyone doesn't want to pay an extra $100 and I'm the brokey? I don't want to pay that amount to go to Colorado. I travel for work. I've been to Colorado. So unless I'm paying that for excursions, it just doesn't make sense to pay that one. And two, I have other stuff that I financially need to plan for. And I told you that ahead of time. Again, I finally caught a free moment. I don't have $262 to put towards a trip because I'm not going at this point. Why would I pay you almost $300 to not go? When I expressed my concern about my monthly budgeting and you told me it was up to me, I put my money elsewhere. I'm covering my bills. I said, I totally understand I'm wanting the trip to fall apart. I apologize for pulling out. I was expecting the trip to be a different amount based off of the group chat because she said, y'all pay $400. $525 came out of nowhere. And I'm still in constant communication. And I said, maybe I just misunderstood her. The next day, she is on here making videos and twisting stories. And in the first video, y'all did y'all big one. Y'all ate her up in those comments because what she was saying didn't make any sense. Then she starts twisting this story to try to make it fit for her. Moral of the story is, y'all blew that video up. She got millions of views. She's now got more than that portion back. She's got her money back. So now she's just milking it. This is all social media. This is all marketing. She's a creative. She's a smart girl. She did her big one with that one. But I figured if we're going to lay it out, even if this doesn't get views like that, let's just tell the full story. Let's get the full context. Mind you, by the way, she said we're all grown. We're all at least 25. I'm 25 and she's 32. Sit and think about that. You are 32 acting like this when you could have just talked to me, playing nice on my messages and coming on here and playing mean girl. Girl, bye.
Tina responded to Deja in a TikTok video saying this.
Period, girl, come on here and tell your side. So let's start from the jump. Let's start from the very beginning. When I say broke, I didn't mean broke as in you're a broke ass bitch. I very clearly stated there's a spectrum. You had other trips to go on that your money was going to that are extremely close up. It's literally 2 months away. Right, there's a spectrum. There's broke as in don't have a pot to piss in, and broke as in I'm broke for this trip. I don't have money for this trip. When people tried to go back into it and say, you know, oh, she don't got this, and this, and I was very specific in what I said, and I was very intentional on correcting them by saying she already had other things planned, so I don't know why she wanted to go on the trip, knowing that. And I put that in every single video. Even in the other ones, I said, you guys are trying to make smoke where there's none. There's no beef, there's no hard feelings. I literally came to ask, am I the asshole? Before I even came on this app, I also asked and said, oh, is this wrong? Mutuals and others said no, because you're not necessarily bashing her, you're just saying, are you wrong for asking? The way that the internet took it and didn't listen to what was said has absolutely nothing to do with me. Also, you're actually incorrect. In terms of the price for the Airbnb drastically switching, what you're forgetting are the receipts. So I'll post those. This was sent on the 19th of January. Mind you, our Airbnb, Verbo, whatever you want to call it, was booked on the 26th. On the 19th, I said, or, mind you, I sent a slew of them. I said, or this one is $405 per person. Heart your favorite. Food, we will get groceries for activities, yada, 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 yada. This is not even a finalized thing. I literally gave you guys a list. The last one in that list I sent you said $405 per person. It was never finalized. Receipt number 2. After I sent all of them, if you scroll down and look, everyone was talking about how they didn't like how any of them did not have a jacuzzi. Everyone is saying they're going to pay extra for the jacuzzi. They want one with a jacuzzi. I said, this one had one. No, let me go see. Let me go look. In which we found the other Airbnb. Discourse was had. This was booked on January 26th and said it's $525 per person. When will everyone be sending their funds? So this is where we get into it. Between the 19th and the 25th, there was no other Airbnb sent. There was no other discourse. I sent y'all that Airbnb on the 25th. Everyone's saying like, love, yada, 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 yada. Mind you. I said, okay, yada, yada, yada. The whole following day, you had ample time to say anything. Whole following day, midday, next day, okay, booked. Here's what it is. Here's the confirmation. Here's the total. When will everybody be sending their money? You're right. Not everybody responded in that group chat. Matter of fact, our mutual didn't even respond in that group chat, which is why I reached out to all you guys individually. And I said, hey guys, when are you sending your money? I'm making sure you guys are also planning to go because I didn't hear anything to the people that didn't say anything. In which you then responded, which are in the other receipts. Hey girl, my money's looking a little tight, yada, yada, yada. But again, I don't want me to affect the cost of the Airbnb for the group if I don't go. So then I clarified with you. And so in this moment when I said, Titus, and you don't think you'll make the trip, you should have just said, Titus, and I don't think I'll make the trip. But instead you said, by the time I covered everything, I'd be hurting. You said, I'm good on my flight. Mind you, we booked on the 26th. You said, I'd be good on the cabin. So for you to say you didn't know that the cost was $5-something when I told you that 6 days ago, and you confirmed on the 31st that you're good for it, I don't understand what you mean we just changed the price. How did the price just randomly change? It didn't change. It was in there. We told you it was in there. You waited. It's after I booked it. It was almost a whole week. And even a week later, you still said, I'm good for that price that was in that group chat. So I'm not understanding where you're saying this price change is coming from. But since you said twice, right, in the messages, I want to make sure it's not going to affect the overall group, right? That's why I asked Michaela, because I told you, okay, like if you can't make it, you can't make it. But that's why I was like, am I misinterpreting what you're saying? So I reached out to our mutual and I said, girl, is it wrong if I asked her for this? Because she did cancel after she confirmed she was paying for this, which is also why we booked such a big Airbnb to fit 10 people, as enough room for 10 people. I said, because she said this, should I reach out? She said, absolutely, because she was under the impression that's exactly what you meant too. We all thought that's what you meant. So when you then said, this isn't what I meant, we're like, oh, okay. And that's why I messaged you and said, oh, okay. Because it is lighthearted. I'm on here asking if I'm the asshole for asking you that, sister. Not for anything else. Was your last minute cancellation kind of, it threw everybody off? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was taken aback personally because after you twice said you didn't want you backing out to affect the group, after you confirmed numerous times that you were going on the trip, you confirmed 7 days after the cabin was booked, was sent, this is how much everybody owes, that you could in fact afford that cabin. You then turned around and was like, well, I'm not paying for it. Why should I pay for it? That's why I was like, am I doing something wrong? Am I missing something? Am I the asshole? It was never to assassinate your character. I genuinely think it was a miscommunication, which is literally what I came on here and said. I think that I misunderstood what you said. Some people said that they thought that you came on here and meant that, you know, you were saying that for us to offer to pay your portion. If you weren't going to pay, you weren't going to pay, which is why I said okay, because it was already paid by me. But I'm asking if I misunderstood what you said. Was I wrong for asking you because of the way that you came back? Like, why would I pay that? Not only that, I didn't even ask you to pay the full amount. I still was going to cover my portion, Jordan's portion, and your portion. I was already going to cover 3/6 of your portion. When you said the other girls, I'm assuming you meant the other 3, which is why I asked you for them. If you don't want to cover for them, that's fine. I will cover for them. I hope this helps. One thing I forgot to touch on is you did make a good point, right? You said that you're a flight attendant. That's actually something that I did not know. I talked to you maybe a couple times. I met you at a wedding. That was it. Once. I had no idea you were a flight attendant. I had no idea you planned to fly to Aspen on standby. I also am confused because in the text that you sent me, you said you had money for a flight, and money for the cabin. Mind you, you're talking about you didn't know. In the message on the 31st, you said you had money for your flight and for your cabin, which then confuses the fuck out of me because first off, we were supposed to drive 3 hours from Denver to Aspen as a group, as a unit, no later than a certain time. How are you going to ensure you were going to get there by a certain time if you're flying standby without letting the group know you're flying standby? Not only that, you mean to tell me you were going to fly there for free? Our mutual offered to pay for all your food and drink and beverages. She offered you that. So all you had to pay for was a cabin, $500, and you were going to be incapable? You had no business to be in that fucking group chat, love. You had no business. You had no black business being in that fucking group chat. You said by the time you pay for everything, knowing our mutual was paying for your food and drinks, you wouldn't have space for excursions, meaning all you had to go on the trip with was $500. You shouldn't have been there. And you're right. And you're right about one thing. I am 32 years old. And as a grown-ass 32-year-old, we don't go through these issues. We don't have these problems. You were a +1. My friend who was going to go almost backed out. And you know what the fuck she said? She said, hey, I might have to back up, but let me know how much it is for my portion. Matter of fact, let me insert that receipt. Because do you see how grown adults handle it? Hey, I think I'm gonna back out of the trip, yada, yada, yada. I didn't even have to ask her. I wasn't even gonna ask her, but she offered off the strength of it's the fucking principle. So I think I'm gonna back out of the trip. I'm gonna finish paying my part for the room. You know why? Because we all agreed we were paying that together as a fucking unit. And this is what happens when you're with grown adults. I didn't have to ask her anything. She left. I wasn't even gonna ask her for a portion, but she offered off the principle and off the fucking strength. She ended up being able to come. Yeah, she's gonna come. But it's the fact of the matter that we don't have to ask for shit like this because we are grown. I believe you're the youngest one in the group. And I think that this is a great learning lesson for you. If you're not going to pay for nobody else or contribute anything, don't offer that and then wonder why people are asking you after you've offered, because you decided to inconvenience the group by not speaking up when you knew good and fucking well you couldn't afford it. By not saying no when I asked you specifically if you were going on the trip and you did not say no. You beat around the fucking bush and said, you're going to see. Yes, I did get the 2 dates mixed up on who sent what at what time. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you text me first then or the first time. The point of the matter is you still said you can afford it. Yeah. So hope this helps.
One thing I know about a girls trip is that there is going to be drama and it probably won't make it out the group chat. Who do y'all think is wrong? Is Deja wrong? Is Tina wrong? Are they both wrong? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.